Hey, welcome. Today, we're diving into one of the most exciting and, honestly, one of the most critical roles in tech right now, the AI product manager. If you've ever looked at all the new AI tools and wondered who's actually steering the ship, well, you are in exactly the right place.
So let's start with that big question, right? Who really decides how this stuff works? We're surrounded by AI every single day, from our Netflix recommendations to those incredible generative art tools. But behind every single one is a person, a strategic mind making some really tough calls. Who is that?
Okay, so here's the official textbook definition. An AI product manager is the person who defines, builds, and launches products powered by artificial intelligence. It's a great start, for sure. But what does that actually mean when you're on the ground in the thick of it?
This, this is the real heart of it. Think of an AI PM as a translator, or even better, a bridge. They stand between three totally different worlds: what the business needs to achieve, what the technology can actually do, and what real people, real users actually want. Their whole job is to find that perfect sweet spot right in the middle. So, with that big picture in mind, let's zoom in a little. Let's talk about the mission. What does a day, a week, or a year in the life of an AI product manager really truly look like? The scope of this role is, well, it's massive. It all starts with getting deep into user problems. What are people struggling with? That understanding shapes the entire product vision and the roadmap. But here's the key. It is absolutely not a solo mission. They are constantly working with engineers, designers, and data scientists. And maybe the most important part of their job, they're the ethical guardians, making sure the AI they're building is actually useful, that it's fair, and that it's responsible. And that's a really important point. This is so much more than just checking off features from a list. An AI PM is fundamentally guiding how artificial intelligence shows up in our society. They are on the front lines, wrestling with these huge questions about fairness, about bias, and the real-world consequences of the tech they help bring to life. Okay, so a job with that much weight on its shoulders is going to require a pretty unique set of tools, right? So what skills do you actually need in your toolkit to not just survive, but to really succeed as an AI PM? Let's take a look. It's this really powerful blend of skills. On one hand, you've got your classic product management strengths, like a deep focus on the user and solid product thinking. Then, you need to be fluent in data and business strategy. And while, you don't need to be a machine learning engineer, you absolutely need a basic grasp of AI. But the glue that holds all of this together? Killer communication skills. And this quote right here, it just nails it. There's this common myth that you need like a PhD in computer science to do this job. But the reality is, your ability to communicate a clear vision and build a solid strategy is just as valuable, sometimes even more so, than deep technical knowledge. And that's great news because it opens this career up to so many more people. Now, when you have a role with this much impact and a skill set this unique, well, you can probably guess that it's in very, very high demand. And with that high demand comes a pretty significant reward. So let's talk numbers. What does this look like financially around the world? Kicking things off in the United States, the average salary range is pretty impressive, starting at $100,000 and going up to $200,000, or even more per year. Hopping over to Europe, you're typically looking at a range between 60 and 110,000 euros. And in a major tech hub like Singapore, that range is about 90,000 to 160,000 Singapore dollars. Now in India, you can really see the career ladder laid out. It starts strong, around 12 to 30 lakh for entry to mid-level roles, then it climbs significantly, up to 75 lakh for senior positions, and for those top leadership roles, you could be looking at over 1.5 crore. The growth potential here is just huge. So the mission is critical, the skills are definitely learnable, and the rewards are clear. But how do you start? What is that very first step you can take to begin your journey to becoming an AI product manager? Well, the most common path is actually a pretty logical one. First, you build a really solid foundation in general product management. Then, you start to layer on the AI fundamentals. Again, the goal isn't to become an engineer, it's to be able to speak the language fluently. And all along the way, you're constantly sharpening those strategic thinking and collaboration skills. And what about the work environment itself? Well, it's very modern. These roles are often hybrid or even fully remote. You'll be working in these tight-knit, cross-functional teams where decisions aren't just based on a gut feeling. They are driven by hard data and real user feedback. So when you put it all together, the strategic importance, the ethical responsibility, the huge market demand, the conclusion is pretty simple. This is a genuinely high-impact career that puts you right at the center of how our future is being built.
And that really brings us to one final thought. There is no doubt that artificial intelligence is one of the most powerful forces shaping our world today. The only question left is, are you ready to be one of the architects? Thanks for watching.